Nigeria Revenue Authority is gearing up for a significant fight against tax and financial crimes. It started with the launch of the OECD UNDP Tax Inspectors Without Borders for Criminal Investigation program, which was on the 4th of April at the LRA headquarters. Well, just give us detail about this project, the tax inspectors without borders for criminal investigation program.
Yeah, thank you, Vanning. Varflay, you said everything correctly. This is a very important program for Liberia, specifically for the Liberia Revenue Authority, as we work so hard to ensure that we collect the 1 billion 1 year. An agenda of our new Commissioner General, Double Jala, who thinks that when we work harder and close the revenue leakages, we can be able to collect $1 billion to foster the country's development. So there are a lot of activities being put in place. One of them is this tax inspectors without border criminal investigation, intended to close up all of the loopholes from investigation of tax crimes and financial crime. So it is a technical assistance provided by the tax inspector without border, and that is a OECD UNDP project intended to provide technical assistance to jurisdictions. Jurisdiction in the context mean revenue authorities in various countries, supporting them in enhancing their tax crime framework and expediting the resolution of tax crime cases and through real-time support and complex investigation. So it means all about investigating all of the leakages and those who are trying to violate our tax laws, those who are trying to get money out of the country illegally, money that's being intended for the Liberian people. That is what the training or the project is about.
Okay.
So we after the launch, we've done a workshop in Bikena for almost the whole of last week, and that was what we call the self-assessment, to assess our own capability in fighting tax crime. So this workshop brought together 31 participants from government investigative related institutions like the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the General Auditing Commission, the Liberia Immigration Service, the Drugs Enforcement Agency, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, the Financial Intelligence Unit. So they were all together. It was a very intensive workshop. We used the OECD maturity model that has 10 principles by which we have to match our own country's capacity. So if we pass all of those 10 principles, it means we are in the very strong position to be able to fight crime and succeed. But because we are limited, it will require more training and more support to get Liberia to where we're supposed to be able to successfully fight tax crime and illicit financial flow.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, given that this is a more of a robust criminal investigation and technical kind of fight against tax, invasion. I just want to know, collaborating with these mainstream security agencies, whether it's the police, the LDA, and all these the security agencies, to what extent these collaborations and coordinations will enhance effectiveness of this regime?
It definitely will, Varflay, I should tell you. And that is why I think it was a very, very eye-opening engagement where the police, the DA, the LACC, through that workshop using the maturity model, they were able to understand their weaknesses and their strength. They were able to understand For example, where the LD is supposed to start and where it's supposed to stop. Where does a court begin the process? In fact, before even going to the court, what are the things that needs to be sorted out so that when we take a case to the court, we will not lose the case. You know that there's some major cases that have gone to the court before and they have not been won. It's only because the way the interagency collaboration when somebody overstepping the bound or doing what they're not supposed to do as required by law. So this is why we call it the whole of government approach.
Mhm.
The whole of government approach, as was recommended by the workshop, is a kind of interagency collaboration to ensure that the country as a whole is fighting against tax crime and financial crime rather than a single organization or agency. Because at that level, there will be a lot of limitation.
Mm.
So the OECD model, self-assessment, allow us to understand as a country that hey, we are limited here. We need to strengthen this. We need to work around this. We need to strengthen our communication strategy around tax crime. We need to amend some of the law. We need to change, for example, a certain thing in the act creating the LRA. We need to look at the revenue code. It has some protection for criminal. How can we remove this? So out of the workshop, we have 16 recommendations that came out. And the recommendations are what now the experts are going to work on, and then to come out with short plan, long-term plan, and to enhance our country's capacity. So, yes, bringing all of these agencies together will help us as a country to successfully deal with tax crime and criminal investigation.
So the work plan will be born out of the 16 priority recommendations.
Of course, yeah, that's what the work plan is going to be based on because you know those recommendations are like telling us, hey, we need to strengthen this. Hey, we need to build upon this and do this and do this. So the UNDP expert who conducted the workshop or facilitated the workshop will now go back to work. And that is his next stage because the OECD tax inspector with our Board of Criminal Investigation project has stages. So stage 1 was for us to apply as LRA that we want to do our self-assessment. Stage 2 was the launch. Stage 3 is the second part of stage 2 is the self-assessment workshop. Now stage 3 is where we will begin the actual investigation, the actual work predicated upon the outcomes of the recommendations that came from the workshop.
So, what is the overall goal of this particular program? Is it to curtail the evasion of government revenue tax and to also increase tax mobilization?
The last one is the goal of the LRA. Domestic resource mobilization, we want to take it to the billion. But beyond that, Varflay, you know, we live in a global village. And you can't have your country being the base where financial criminals will stay. Some of them come and open businesses in other countries and have some branches here, or open businesses here, they have branches in other countries where they transfer money. And this money that they transfer might just go to the wrong place or to support other terroristic behavior or war in some other countries and what have you. So part of this is to join the global fight against illicit financial flow. If I should give you a statistic, you realize that Africa is losing more than 80 billion every year in illicit financial flow. And Liberia is no exception to this. If I should give you another statistic, you know that Africa is now indebted in the tune of 1.2 trillion in debt. And now, our country has huge debt. How do we finance all of these to enable us as country to meet the sustainable development goal and even the African Union agenda? We have to tighten the screw to to stop people from siphoning money from our country the wrong way. We have to ensure that also we raise the required revenue to be able to, for example, build our roads in our country. If we don't fight crimes, if we don't tighten the screw, it's not going to be possible. So that at the end of the day, we want to fight crimes, but also merely from the perspective of the LRA, we want to increase revenue. Because if we don't close these leakages, our money will go, we wouldn't meet our target.
Okay, Mr. Singbe, any other thing before we leave you?
Well, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity and thank you to all our taxpayers. The LRA will never be the LRA if people do not pay their taxes. So it's our obligation to always say thank you to them and to encourage them. But I also want to assure the public that our new Commissioner General is very, very committed. Commissioner General has been working with various departments and sections, coming up with new ideas. He's an innovative man. See how we can change some of the things. He has encouraged taxpayers or the business community to be transparent and not to take any bypass, because if you take bypass, it becomes so expensive for you. He has told the LRA staff to be very, very sincere in the work to do, because the country depends on them so much that without them, the country cannot succeed. And that is the direction in which we are moving with our new slogan that is coming, 1Y, 1B, meaning 1 year, 1 billion. And that will require legislative support. That will require the public support, civil society. All of us need to work together. And that is the only way we can succeed, because nobody else is going to build Liberia unless us, the Liberian, we the Liberian people have to build our country. So I want to say thank you, and always giving us the opportunity to talk to the Liberian people and give them update about the LRA.
Thank you very much. Well, he's Mr. Kahine Singbe, the communications manager there at the Liberia Revenue Authority, concerning the launch of the Tax Inspectors Without Borders Criminal Investigation Project recently in Buchanan. That's the training in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County, but the launch actually took place at the LRA headquarters in Painesville. 99.9, you're listening to the Super Morning Show at 9 o'clock. I will be speaking with the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, Director Josiah Jokai will be here as my special guest at 9 o'clock on the Super Morning Show this morning. We will speak with some of our correspondents later on until 9 o'clock on the show this morning.